I thank the chairman. And now with that, I would recognize the ranking member of the full committee, Mr. Nadler, for his opening statement.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, since the last time this subcommittee held a hearing on the Freedom of Access to Clinic Entrances Act, or the FACE Act, over a year ago, judiciary Republicans have found zero credible or direct evidence that supports their specious claims regarding what they allege is the Department of Justice's uneven enforcement of the FACE Act. What has changed since then is that the subcommittee chairman, along with 47 of his fellow House Republicans, have once again said the quiet part aloud. They have introduced a bill to repeal the FACE Act altogether. That's right. Anti-abortion extremists continue to use violence, threats, and disruption to curb access to abortion. So Republicans want to repeal the law that explicitly protects patients, providers, and facilities that provide reproductive health services from these ongoing threats. Republicans claim that prosecutors are selectively targeting anti-abortion protesters under the FACE Act and declining to prosecute threats against anti-abortion facilities. But there is zero evidence for their claims. To the contrary, it appears that DOJ is enforcing the law without regard to defendants' viewpoints. I fear, however, that once Republicans complete their takeover of the federal government next year, they will use these sham allegations as a pretext to put a bill revoking the FACE Act's important federal protections on President Trump's desk. This would represent a dangerous and unacceptable attack on public safety. The FACE Act was enacted because of a long documented history of violence specifically directed against abortion providers, their staff, and their patients. The American people need strong enforcement of the law even more now in the wake of continued and escalating violence, threats, and intimidation against women and their doctors post-Dobbs. According to the most recent report issued by the National Abortion Federation, anti-abortion extremists have intensified their efforts to block access to abortion facilities in those states that protect the right to obtain an abortion. Even by their own terms, FACE Act repeal is a nonsensical course of action. If House Republicans' supposed concern is uneven enforcement of the FACE Act, why wouldn't they simply call for the incoming Trump administration to prioritize cases involving protection of anti-abortion facilities, which are explicitly protected under the FACE Act? Instead, the chairman and his Republican colleagues have come up with a new, equally farcical pretext for attacking the FACE Act, namely that it is unconstitutional and should be eliminated altogether. While the Supreme Court has not weighed in on the constitutionality of the act, that is because, as far as I can tell, every federal circuit court of appeals that has considered the issue has upheld the FACE Act against challenges that the law violates the First Amendment's free speech guarantees or exceeds Congress' authority under the Commerce Clause. House Republicans' manufactured narrative about the FACE Act, however, makes perfect sense if one recognizes that their ultimate goal is to ban abortion nationwide. House Republicans clearly feel more beholden than ever to the special interests of anti-abortion activists over the will of the American people, a majority of whom reject their extreme anti-abortion agenda. As we stand on the eve of the next Trump administration, today's hearing, the last for the Judiciary Committee in the 118th Congress, can only be interpreted as a message from House Republicans to these extreme anti-abortion activists. That message is, sit tight, because Republicans will use the 119th Congress to lay yet another brick in the groundwork for the Trump administration's plans to use complete Republican control of the federal government to block women from obtaining the reproductive health care they need, all while inching towards enacting a total nationwide ban on abortion. House Democrats will not stay silent in the face of this onslaught. We will do everything within our power to protect the right to an abortion and to resist Republican efforts to enact a nationwide abortion ban. I yield back.